Okay, in this video, I'm going to try and go through the data response question. So when doing a data response question, the first thing to do is to try and read and understand as much information as possible. So the black-legged tick is an arthropod which sucks blood from humans and other mammals. It's encountered mainly in woodland and semi-wooded areas. Some ticks can be infected by this bacterium. And when a tick bites a human, the bacterium is often introduced, causing Lyme disease. So Lyme disease is a public health problem in North America, and if left untreated can cause important neurological impairment. So what do we take from that? So what we take is that we've got a tick, okay, and that tick plus the bacteria can go to a human, and that can cause Lyme disease. Okay, so that's our understanding from that. Then we look at this cycle. So we start off with eggs in the spring, and that then goes to the larvae, which can feed on small mammals and birds. That then goes to the nymph, which feeds on mammals, including humans. And then it's between the nymph and the adults where we've got this feeds on medium to large animals, including humans. And this is where we've got our highest risk of infection. So that transition from nymph to adult, and then it goes into the winter, it lays its eggs, and the cycle will start over again. So things that we learn from that, if we're trying to get rid of this, the question is, do we want to get rid of ticks, or do we want to get rid of the disease, or do we want to get rid of, these are where are the control points? So we could try and do something about the larvae feeding on the small mammals and birds, or the nymph or the adults feeding on us. Okay, so the first question, using information from the text, identify one possible simple treatment. Now, in your paper, what a lot of people wrote was vaccination. Vaccination would be great, but vaccination isn't a treatment. It's a preventative measure. So it told us that this was caused by a bacteria, and bacteria are treated by antibiotics. Okay, so what we would want in that to get this mark is antibiotics. Okay, now we go on. Scientists fear that global warming will change the distribution range of ticks. The graphs show the developmental stage of ticks throughout the season in a densely human populated area of southeastern Canada surrounded by woods here. Okay, values are already established for 2000 and are predicted for 2080. So you can see, if you compare the two graphs, that you've got a shift basically in, for goodness sake, you've got a shift basically in this direction. So everything's happening a bit sooner. The shapes of the graphs are fairly similar, but stuff's happening a little bit earlier between 2020 and 2080. So the first question then is, identify the month when the small birds had the greatest chance of being infected by the bacteria in the year 2000, and the month when they would be most likely to become infected according to the 2080 predictions. So the question is, well, when are the birds involved? So the birds are involved in the summer. Okay, so or when the larvae, the birds are involved when in the larval stage. Okay, so if we, my computer's been very annoying, I apologize. So when we go back to this, we're looking for high larvae. So that would be, why is it doing this? High larvae would be there and there. So you track that down. So that's August in 2000 and July in 2080. So then, using the life cycle diagram and the graph for the year 2000, analyse the distribution of adult ticks through the different seasons. So what you want to be saying are things along the lines of adults are present through the autumn and the winter. Or you could say that some adults obviously must survive through the winter. You could say that adults peak during October and November, or between September and December, or in the autumn, because remember, we're just talking about the adult ticks here. You could say that adults seem to die after laying their eggs in the end of the winter, the beginning of the spring. You could talk about the smaller peak, 10%, versus the larger peak, 55% of adults in the spring. You could talk about the fact that adults are generally absent from June to September. Okay, To get the marks, you had to define either the month or the season. Okay. So then it goes on, gives us some more information. So it says white-footed mice in eastern North America's wooded areas often host these bacteria. So determine whether bacterial transmission from mice to tick nymphs could be prevented. Mice were vaccinated. So what they're saying here is we've got the tick, okay, and then we've got the mouse. And the idea would be that the tick would bite the mouse, and then the mouse would give the bacteria to the tick, and then the tick would bite the human and give the bacteria to the human. Okay, so the idea is if we could vaccinate the mice, so now the mice can't give the bacteria to the tick, then that might stop the tick from being able to give the bacteria to the human. So to determine whether bacterial transmission from mice to tick nymphs could be prevented, mice were vaccinated with antigens from Lyme diseasing causing bacteria. Scientists captured wild mice at 2 different sites in woods once a month over 4 months. Each time they measure the levels of antibodies present in the captured and recaptured mice, inoculated all of them and released them into the woods. The control group was not vaccinated. Okay, so then we have a look at this, and you can obviously see that the vaccinated group have much higher levels of the antibody compared to the control group. So it's then asking you to evaluate the effect of the change in distribution of the different life stages of ticks on the spread of Lyme disease in southeastern Canada. And so to do this, you could talk about the fact that you've got nymphs are present throughout most of the year. You've got more adults in winter, so that's more risk of infection. And infection will be possible through more or most of the months throughout the year. And that Lyme disease is likely to increase. Now, slightly awkwardly, that does refer a bit more to these graphs than it does to these ones. But anyway, moving on. Then we look at here, so we've got the summer after vaccination. The prevalence of the infection in tick nymphs was collected on mice from 2 sites when measured. So analyse the data on the state of the infection of the tick nymphs with the bacteria in the control and the vaccinated mice. So what could we say? We could say that at site 1, there is little or no significant difference in the proportion of infected nymphs and uninfected nymphs collected from both the controlled and the vaccinated mice. So if you look, there's not really very much difference in the numbers there between the control mice and the vaccinated mice. At site 2, you can see that significantly more nymphs are not infected from the vaccinated mice compared to the control mice. You could say that at both sites, so both site 1 and site 2, there are fewer infected than uninfected nymphs in those collected from both the vaccinated and the control mice. You could talk about the fact that the proportion of the infected nymphs is lower at site 1 than site 2. And you could also put numbers into this, so the different percentages. And then this question asks for all of the data, discuss whether inoculating mice with the antigen could be an effective method of controlling the spread of Lyme disease. So you've got to try and make sure that you are using all of the data points given. So you could sort of say a general comment of the fact that it seems to be effective to some extent as the vaccination increases antibodies or immunity in mice. You could talk about the fact that site 2 suggests that vaccination could reduce the nymph infection rate, so the method might be effective, or that site 1 suggests that vaccination does not reduce the nymph infection rate, so the method is probably not effective. You could talk about the fact that they probably are going to need very high antibody levels, and that perhaps there are going to be other hosts for this bacterium, difficult to vaccinate so many mice, and there might be a better final solution.